Alright, Bearded Appliance Repair here with another washer video for you guys. This guy here just won't do anything, customer says. First thing I always check for on these things is a bad lid switch here. And on this one here, you can press a screwdriver down into that hole and she will run. But whenever the door or the lid is shut, she won't run. So, it's a lid switch on this one. I mean, you could maybe zip tie it if you're at home. If you take this switch out, you'll see that this thing splits in a certain spot. And I've done it in the past. I don't like doing it because it doesn't always last a long time. I go ahead and replace the switch. It's only like maybe a $15 part, something like that. I'll have it linked in the description below if anybody needs it. But I mean, it's no big deal of a switch on this guy. So we're going to show you how to get into it. You saw me take those caps off on the left and the right hand side, and once you get those caps off, you got two screws to remove, and I dropped one of those screws, so I'm going to get my magnet real quick, pick that sucker up. Boom, put that safely right over there. And we're going to lift up this control panel. And when we lift it up, you'll see, oh yeah, of course, before you work on these things, unplug it. Don't want to hurt yourself. There's always power on that lid switch, so make sure you guys got power off whenever you're swapping this thing out. Yeah, so we're going to lift this control panel up. And first thing we're going to do is disconnect the wire harness for that lid switch. You just pull that tab and lift that harness right up out of the hole, just like that. Alright, I like to use this pry bar here. You can use a screwdriver, but this guy works even better. It's got that little, I don't know, 30-degree angle on it. And you just pry those little keepers out. And that whole cabinet falls forward. This is a tight area as well, so whenever I work on this, I just let that thing fall forward all the way to where it hits the wall, and then it'll expose that switch. It's right there. You really can't see it very well because I don't have my light charged on this thing, but yeah, the switch is just right under there. You got a 5/16 screw that holds that ground wire on, and that's what I am getting out right here. And then there's clips holding in the wire harness where the harness goes back up through the back. So it'll connect to that connector that we removed before we opened up this panel area. But getting the wire harness out of that clip there, and then there's another one where my fingers are right here. I'm just pulling the clip back and lifting the wire harness out. There it is. Wire harness is free, except for this connector here. You just push in on each side, releases the clips, and that's it. Now, the switch is still secured, but we gotta open up that lid to get those other screws out. So I'm gonna bring this guy back up, open the lid, and use a Phillips screwdriver to remove the screws that are securing it into place. Yeah, then once it's out, you get yourself a new one, and you do the exact opposite of what you just did. There's a few different lid switches on these that you can use. I carry one on my truck, the longest one, and you can pretty much use that on any machine. This one here does use the shorter one, but I'll have the long one and the shorter one in the description below. So if yours is if yours looks like this, where the lid switch is on the right rear like this, you can use the short one. But if you're not sure, you can use the long one, and I'm going to show you what I'm going to do with it whenever I get it installed. And right here, I was trying to get you a good view of that split in the lid switch itself, but I got a terrible angle, so you didn't see that, so you won't see what's actually bad and what you can zip tie. So sorry about that, but we're putting a new switch on here anyways, which is probably what I'd recommend. I mean, especially if you're doing it yourself, it won't cost you 15, 20, maybe 30 bucks. That's it. But now we're getting this switch back into place, and you secure it with those 2 Phillips head screws. And terrible angle for it, so sorry about that. But I mean, if you got it out, you guys can get it back in. No big deal. But I'm securing it here, and then I'm going to reroute the wire harness like I did before. On this one, the plastic piece that goes around the wire harness, it protects it, from anything grabbing it or whatever. And what I'm going to do is I'm just going to break it, make it a similar size to what it was on the old one that came out, because like I said, I put in the longer one on this because that's the one I carry on my truck, and it's a lot easier carrying one switch rather than carrying 3 or 4. So that's a good switch right there. All we got to do is finish putting it in. And if you got a washer like this, no matter how much it takes, fix it. They don't make them like these anymore, so yeah. Okay, I'm gonna get this ground wire back in. Trying to find the right tool for it again. There we go. Screw in the ground wire. Secure it to the cabinet. And there's a good view of that clip right there. But that long gray plastic there, you'll see here, I will break probably 5 inches off of it. I did initially cut it with some diagonal cutters, but you can just bend it and break it. And again, got a bad view of it, but you just need it long enough to, or short enough to go between the switch area back to the corner, because then it makes that 90-degree turn going back over. And the part that's still there, that's too long, so I broke it again to fit back in that other clip. But then when we get that harness back in there, we're going to push the connector back in through that hole. There's only one way it'll go, so if it won't go in one way, just turn it around and it should go in. So once that gets back on, you can put that panel back into place, secure it with those tabs or those brass pieces that hold the panel in, and give her a good test. What I was doing here is routing the wires a little bit better so nothing gets caught by anything, and everything's good there. Nothing should get caught or anything. There it is. She's good to go. Alright, so we're going to put this cabinet back into place. If you get this thing all the way out, you just got to put in the front of the cabinet underneath it first and lean it all the way back. And you'll see here in a second on the right hand side, it just doesn't seat very well. And there's little clips that hold it in, or little guide pins that the cabinet's got to sit into on each side, the left and right hand side. I'm noticing right here that it's not fitting right, so I'm gonna get behind it. Notice that that wall is sitting out just a little bit. I'm just gonna lift it up, push it in, bring her down right into those guide pins. And now she fits pretty well. Now I'm gonna put these brass holders back in here, and you just clip it into the back panel first, and then you push down into those holes, and she snaps into place and she holds it pretty securely. Bring over the panel, plug it in, make sure she works. I always like to test it before I get it all the way back together, just in case I missed something, forgot to hook up the door switch harness or something like that. There we go. We got a working washer. All it was a lid switch. Nothing to it, guys. Nothing to it. I'm sure there's millions of videos out there like this already, so maybe you guys will come across this one, because this thing's been around a while. But we're pretty much done. We just got to get the 2 screws back in, the left and right hand side, and then the nice covers that hide these screws here. Move this thing back into place, and boom, that's it. Washer is fixed. Another happy customer. Yeah, but that's it, folks. Washer's done. Good to go. Yeah, so I hope this helps. If it does, let us know down below in the comment section. If it helps, if it doesn't help, whatever. Y'all have a good evening. Take care.